Hey, what's up? Zach here, and today I've got the Jordan Zoom Separate. Now the Separates are billed as the kind of younger sibling to the flagship Jordan line. They're not as expensive, they're not as available in as many markets as of now, a little lighter of a shoe. However, at least in my opinion, the Separates are a surprisingly comparable shoe to the flagship Jordans. So let's see what they're made of. Now, what I like about the uppers of the Separates just in general is they are a more lighter package upper than some other basketball shoes we've seen this year. They do have a lot of padding and bunting around the ankle collar, a little bit more of that mid-top construction, so you're not going to get any heel slippage. However, and I know a lot of real sneaker enthusiasts really like more premium materials, more natural materials. However, at least for me in terms of performance and comfort, if you can make a shoe with lighter uppers that still give you the same resiliency and the same support, well then I think the lighter, more textile materials are also a big win in the performance sneaker category. But what gets me actually excited about the Separates as a foot doctor especially, number one is the lace line. So starting from top to bottom, what I love about the lace line is you have options when it comes to lacing. Number one, you can use these more narrow eyelets and make the shoe a lot more snug and secure. Or you can use the wider eyelets here and make the shoe more forgiving. Or if you want to buy extra long laces, you can actually use all of them and crisscross the laces, giving you just a ridiculous amount of secure lockdown as long as you're patient enough to lace that type of system. And coming down more into the forefoot, it just looks like a normal lacing. However, this is a hard-backed lace line, as well as you actually get a second pair of ties that go right into the stitched-in strobel board. So the laces are actually moving through two different sets of eyelets coming down here, which gives your forefoot an even better lockdown, which is going to really help you in terms of pivoting when you're on your toes, which we'll talk about more in the performance review. But even though the uppers are light and breathable and surprisingly secure, they're not all that durable. If you look at the upper durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, the Dremel just bit right through that top mesh layer. Now this is a double layer upper, so it didn't get through the second layer. However, just get ready for that upper to get pretty chewed up if you are more of a toe dragging type player. Now, if you look at the midsole teardown, the Separates have a ton of Easter eggs hidden inside the midsole, and it does say dual density midsole on these. And if you look in the forefoot underneath the strobel board, you can see that black foam does go all the way to the lateral side. Now on the outside, it doesn't really feel all that different. However, once you tear them down, on the inside, the black foam is a little bit more dense, a little bit more hard and unforgiving versus that more white Nike Phylon, which is pretty bouncy. Now that black foam does go all the way to the edge of the shoe, and I think that is just to give the lateral side of the shoe a little bit more stability for cutting. And it is right here where you would need it in terms of pivoting, so that is nice. However, if they are going to make it double density, I really would like to see it a little bit further down where you could break a metatarsal or sprain a midfoot. And the second pretty cool Easter egg of the midsoles is just how the stack heights measure out. If you look, the arch is actually higher than the heel in the Separates, and that does give you a really nice feeling of arch support under the shoe. Now it is all foam because this is a bottom-loaded shank, so you are going to feel all that nice arch contouring, that arch support. However, remember, this is just pretty standard Nike foam, so this is going to bottom out, especially if you're a heavier player. However, when the shoe is new, these do give you a ton of arch cradling, and they feel really good under arch. And the third Easter egg, which is more of just the elephant in the room, is this forefoot Zoom Air unit with a little protrusion here, as you can see here from the red rubber. Now this forefoot Zoom Air unit, unlike the Jordan 36, I didn't feel under the ball of my foot because it is bottom loaded and it is a little bit longer. So instead of the Jordan 36 where it's more of a hockey puck, this is a little bit more of an oval type shape Zoom Air unit. So your foot just kind of sits on more of it. So the more surface area it is, the less your foot's going to feel it. And we'll kind of see how it does in the performance review in terms of does it give you any instability or not. But in terms of me just feeling it under the ball of my foot, actually much more comfortable than the Jordan 36. Now the outsole tread of the Jordan Separates is actually pretty intuitive in my opinion. Right here under the ball of the foot, you have this more delta pattern in the red rubber, which does give you a lot of grip, especially when planting on your forefoot. And then around the periphery is more of that regenerative pattern, which does actually give a pretty decent grip because this is a 3mm tread depth. So no matter if you're pivoting going side to side or front to back, these shoes do give a pretty decent grip. And if you look at the outsole durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, this is the XDR or the EP version, so barely a millimeter of damage. In the standard US version, you're probably going to get about 1.5 millimeters of damage. However, no matter which one you get, a 3mm tread depth is still a lot better than some other shoes. So if you are looking for an outsole with a little more durability, especially in the EP or the XDR version, you might have a really good friend here in terms of outdoor use for a shoe. And in terms of fit, of course, the Jordans are not the widest shoes out there. However, if you are a narrow, medium, or even up to a 2E width foot, you can can fit into your standard size. If you're somebody with a 2E and you just want to have a little more of an accommodating, a little bit more forgiving feel, then yeah, I'd go up that half size. And if you're over a 2E, definitely up that half size. Now, if you're someone that wants a little bit more arch support in their shoe, these are also a great pickup. And once that arch support kind of starts to bottom out, you can always throw an orthotic in these. And I do think somebody with a more high arch foot, or someone that is a little bit worried about ankle spraining, because the flange is so wide, these shoes also could be a good pickup for you, just because they are so stable laterally, and because of the lace line, you can kind of customize those laces to give you more stability where you need it. And like I said previously in the video, all these bells and whistles are great to look at and they're interesting. However, it really comes down to how they perform on an indoor and outdoor court. So if you want to see the performance review of the Zoom Separate, make sure you're subscribed, because that video is coming up next.